Hello and welcome to the Counselor Corner podcast brought to you by the award-winning Golden Eagle Broadcast Network. I am Ashley Patterson, one of the counselors here at Frederick High School, and I'm very excited about our special guest today. Usually my co-host.
Special as a reach.
Very special. You all know Josiah Hall. Usually he's my co-host. Today he's my special guest, and he's going to be telling us all about being a student athlete and the recruiting process for any of our students who are interested in that. So let me introduce you as a guest. Mm-hmm. So in high school, Josiah Hall, let me find my notes because there's a lot. Back. Oh, yeah. Team captain, 2-time first team all area, 2-time all conference honoree, 2-time academic all state selection, 110 tackles in his career. This is for football. What position did you play?
Defensive end mainly.
Okay, perfect. 15.5 sacks. Also played basketball and track in high school. So 3 athlete there, 3
Not
sport
nearly
athlete.
as good as those sports.
But you did it. That's a lot of time.
We tried.
Time and energy, right? All right, so let's go to college at the University of Wyoming, Division I, for those who don't know. Division I, team captain and starter. Competed in 45 collegiate games. Competed in the 2016 Mountain West Championship Game Poinsettia Bowl, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, and the Arizona Bowl. 4-time Mountain West Academic All-Conference Team, sole recipient of the 2019 Weston Johnson Never Flinch Award, which is a really big deal at the University of Wyoming. In 2019, you won the Bulworth Trophy. Nominated for the Bulworth Trophy, which is football's most outstanding player who began his career on a walk-on. And in 2020, was a National Football Foundation Hampshire Honor Society member in recognition of superior academic performance and excellence in intercollegiate football. Yeah. That's a heck of a list of accomplishments there, Josiah.
Yeah, well, hey, you went pretty far back there for all those.
I did. Well, and so I didn't tell you which ones I was going to name. I texted your beautiful wife, Kayla, another Division I athlete in volleyball.
Way better than me, for sure.
Shout out to Kayla.
Yep.
So when I read off that list, were any of those like really special to you, or you worked super hard at, like anything that kind of was like, oh man, I remember that?
Probably the Never Flinch Award from Wyoming. It's not something that maybe anybody would know of outside of the program, but inside the program, all the guys kind of knew about it. And you don't really know when it's coming or who's going to get it, but you know, after I finished up my senior year, his parents reached out to me, and that was really cool to kind of get to talk with them about Weston and who he was and the kind of person he was. And when they told me that, you know, there was no other person that they would have thought to give it to aside from me, that was really special for me.
Yeah.
Just seeing kind of their reaction towards me and getting to know them a little bit was awesome. So that was really cool. And there's kind of a plaque that kind of goes through, hopefully it's still there, kind of goes through the program that the guys signed. So there was a bunch of signatures on it from guys that had kind of played before me, guys that I knew and I looked up to.
Oh, that's
right.
Awesome.
And they kind of sign it and leave a message, and then you do that for the guys that come after you. So that was probably one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah, that's really special. And he was an athlete who played at Wyoming who passed away from cancer.
Correct.
If I'm remembering that correctly.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. He played at Wyoming, passed away. I believe he's from Colorado as well, so there was that connection that we both had. So yeah, that one was really cool. So that's what this bracelet is for, actually, on my wrist, this black one.
Oh, amazing.
It's like all faded, but this is the Never Flinch Award. You can, if you look really close, you can see it. I gotta call his parents and try and get another one. But yeah.
That's awesome. Well, congrats. That was really impressive reading through that list.
Yeah.
Before all that, you were a high school athlete, like a lot of our students here at Frederick.
Yeah.
Now, looking back on your career in high school as an adult, is there anything that you sort of recognize, like, oh, that did kind of push me over the top, or I did do that differently than a lot of my teammates?
Yeah. I think maybe the main thing was like I tried not to ever, you know, take time off, which doesn't sound great. But it was just like an obsession almost, ever since I was a little kid, not just in high school. Like, starting off watching college football, like with my dad growing up and watching a bunch of like Oklahoma games and just going to games and looking up to guys like Adrian Peterson and Jason White, Sam Bradford, guys like that. We were big Oklahoma fans in my house. And then just like being really, really just like, just pretty much obsessed with the idea of playing in college one day. That's kind of how it happened. And then everything else after that kind of fell into place because I knew like it had to be a little bit insecure about how much work I was putting in on a day-to-day basis. So there were days where I would just, go find a football field and just run routes because I thought I was going to play tight end in college. Luckily, I found some coaches that were smarter than me and was like, yeah, you'd probably be better on the defensive side of the ball. But I would go to find a field and just like run routes, or me and my buddy Jeff. I remember we would just lift every day after school. Like we would bug coaches, like, "Hey, can we open up the weight room? Can we open up the weight room?" And we would just work out every single day. So when I was playing basketball or running track, I would find times to go lift either before or after practice. My senior year, Omar Bacon, who was still my dad's personal trainer down in Colorado Springs, he would work me out. Me and my buddy Warby. Before school even started, and then we would go to school after that. So we were working out 5 a.m. down in Colorado Springs, go back out to Falcon to start school. So that was probably it. Like you just got to be
commitment.
Yeah. You gotta put in the work. Like it's not just gonna happen. So that was probably the biggest thing for sure.
Do you feel playing other sports? I mean, you knew football was the one, obviously, like watching Oklahoma, watching football games. Did playing the other sports help you in that at all? Just staying in shape, having that discipline, having that routine?
Yep, absolutely. And that's maybe some of my biggest advice for kids and for parents is don't try and specialize, especially too early. Like my senior year, I only played football. But I knew at that point that I was going to college to play. But every year leading up to that, like me and my brothers, we played hockey when we were kids. We would play, volleyball, the track, basketball was obviously there. But I'm super happy I did, and I always recommend it because when I did end up getting to college, like you'll find, I can't think of a guy right now that I knew personally who didn't play another sport besides football.
Yeah.
And I mean, like with your brother, like he played college sports, and but guys are almost take more pride in, like I play football, obviously. Guys would take more pride in being good basketball players than good football players. Like you'd be at football practice and everybody's talking about, I could beat you one-on-one in basketball. And then the other guy goes, no, you can't. And then it starts this whole thing, right? And then guys are playing intramural basketball and then, getting more excited about that than going to football practice. But I think the reason, kind of behind why I would say it's good for kids to get involved in multiple sports is just it'll never hurt you to become a better athlete. Right. So like the things you're going to learn playing basketball are going to be totally different than what you learn playing football.
Right.
And the workouts that you do during track season are going to be totally different than the workouts you do during football season. Right. But all of that kind of just helps you become a better athlete, I think, and that'll never hurt you. And even if it's not running, right, maybe you're out there throwing or jumping, but, or wrestling or I don't know, whatever you want to do. It doesn't have to be anything specific, but as long as you're, just trying to become a better athlete, like it'll always help you out.
Nice.
I think. So
nice.
Yeah.
You've also coached here at Frederick. Was there anything that you saw as a coach that athletes did where they stood out from the rest of the players?
Oh man, that is a good question. I want to give Cody Salazar a shout out because he's still playing. He's a senior, and I got the opportunity to coach him. But I want to give Cody a shout out. I loved coaching Cody because I worked with the D-line, right? Because that was what I knew. And Coach Lloyd let me work out the D-line. Cody is a little undersized, and I was working with him as a 10th grader. He was a little undersized for D-lineman, but there would be times where he would come work out with us. And what stuck out about Cody was just his attitude and his he was always going full speed, right? So if there was a drill, if there was a rep, right, and he's going up against a bigger guy, he's going to go full speed and he's going to attack it, and he's not going to worry about it. He's not, having any kind of reservations about going up against a bigger guy or in a position where maybe he's not as comfortable in. Because I think he's playing running back right now. He's our starting running back, right? So that's obviously not a D lineman, but when he was a 10th grader, he didn't care, and he didn't know when he was going to be in 12th grade that he was going to be the starting running back, right? But he knew that he was going to go full speed that rep, and that always stuck with me. So shout out to Cody if you ever see this, man. Proud of you, man. Keep working. And yeah, that stuff kind of stuck with me. And there's other guys too, but that's just one example.
Nice.
Yep.
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so for our students here at Frederick, first priority has to be school and grades.
Yep.
You have to be eligible. I think you can't have more than one F every
Yep.
week. Is that
Yep.
right?
If you have more than one F, you can't play.
Okay. So how did you and what's your advice for balancing the academic workload and then it sounds like from you, if you were at the gym at 5 a.m. working out, then went to school, then lifted, then went to practice,
Yeah.
how did you balance all of that with being a good student?
Yeah. You definitely got to use your time wisely. And this is actually really timely because just this last weekend I was at a college conference just for this role as a counselor. And I asked some professors, like, hey, what do you see as maybe the most important skill coming in for new students in college? And they said time management. And as an athlete, that just gets amplified, right? Because that was my schedule in high school. You should have seen my schedule in college, right?
Oh, yes.
But if you can build habits early and really figure out ways to manage your time, then that'll only serve you better down the road. And whether you want to be a high school or a college athlete or not, like that doesn't matter.
Right.
Having good time management skills is always going to serve you well. So for me, it was if there was free time in class, right? Like I was trying to knock out homework. If I found free time at home, I knew that, hey, I was going to get home from practice and I had to spend X amount of time doing homework. So that the next day I could kind of wake up and feel caught up on everything, right? Like it's really easy to kind of go home after practice and just kind of get on the phone or start watching TV. Like I totally get all that. But there's always going to be opportunities to get some work done. And I found it really helpful to kind of do that. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I did not play sports at a high level like you did. But I have two daughters that are good athletes, and they talk about wanting to. No pressure from me, but, we'll see.
Right.
One of my daughters in particular is so hard on herself. Like, I feel like she could probably if she batted 4 times in softball, she'd probably get 4 home runs and still come home and say she'd find something that she felt like she didn't do her best at. What's your advice on the mental aspect of sports? Because that's a big one, especially with how competitive it is now, right?
Yeah, that's a hard one. I mean, I'll be honest. I kind of like the mindset, right? Because you kind of got to be a little. As an athlete, you never want to be satisfied, kind of with how you're performing, and I think that can serve athletes a lot, right? It's just not being, as a coach or as a player, you kind of look out for those ones that think that they've arrived. And have all the answers, because usually there's someone else out there that's working, right, to pass them up, right? And eventually that's going to happen, right? So having that mindset of like, okay, I can always improve on something, I think that's a pretty good thing. Where it gets dangerous is where it turns into like your identity, and you start to have these negative thoughts and feelings about your performance or about yourself. Like that can really eat you up. So you got to find that balance of being like, okay, yeah, I can get better, but I know I got tomorrow to do that. And whatever happened in this game, right, that's done with, I'm going to watch it, I'm going to learn from it, and then we're going to move on from it. But always, you do really always want to be kind of working to be your best, but at the same time not dwelling on the past or living in mistakes, because that's when you can kind of get lost in.
So learn from it. So letter B.
Yep.
Because I stress about that. I'm like, oh my gosh, she did so great though. Why is she so? But But what you're saying is that's kind of a good thing if you're wanting to compete at a really high level. You can't ever think like, oh yeah, I got this.
Yeah.
Kind of have to always want to be getting better.
Yeah. I mean, I remember we were playing the playoffs my junior year against Dakota Ridge, and I had like a 50-yard catch, but I got tackled at the 4, and after the game, it was a big play. It was a good play. I did everything I was supposed to, but my dad was like, how could you got in the end zone right there? Right? And the same thing my sophomore year, I remember another play I got tackled at the 1 against Monarch in the playoffs. And I remember my coach leaving me a note on the film saying, how could you got in the end zone right there? Right? So it's appreciating the good stuff, but also like, okay, how can I get better?
Okay.
Because someone's trying to get better, so it might as well be you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I have a couple other questions for you before we get into like the nitty gritty of the recruitment process, because I know that's kind of your specialty here, and we really lean on you for that. One of your awards was for being a walk-on. What was that like? What was the recruitment process like for you personally?
Yeah. That's a good question. It looks different for everybody. I couldn't tell you like when it started or how it started, but eventually around my senior year, I started hearing from coaches, and back in my day, they would send out letters, and I don't even know if colleges still do that anymore, but they would send out physical mail to guys, and so I would get that kind of in the mail every now and then. I think my junior year was when schools would kind of start inviting me to games, just to like watch and like be in the like environment of the school and get to meet the coaches. So I'll go to like a lot of CU games or CSU games, Air Force, just to kind of get my feet wet and be on campus in some places. And then senior year, it kind of really started to get more like personalized, right? Because you're going to start making those decisions. And so like for Wyoming, where I ended up going, I remember Coach Cooper came to my school and had a chat with me and one of my teammates about the potential of coming to play at his school. And so that would happen for various different schools. I remember Mines coming and talking with me, CSU, Air Force came to my house one day to kind of talk with my parents about going to the Air Force Academy. But senior year, you start doing that a lot more. You have a lot more visits, and then from coaches, and then you go visit other schools. So there was a couple visits I took. I went down to Durango to visit Fort Lewis, went to Air Force, CSU, and Wyoming as like the main visits that I was thinking about. And that's when I would go visit the campus. Coaches would kind of give you their spiel, right? They're talking to you about what it would look like to play there, what your role would be on the team, things like that. What it would look like to be a student there, because that's also super important.
Really important.
You go through like the facilities, and they're really trying to sell you on the idea of coming to their school. So we did all of those like my senior year. And then around, I think, February of my senior year, I decided to go to Wyoming. So I called Coach up, told him I was going to go there, and that was my commitment or whatever.
Nice.
And then, we went. So, I was a walk-on. So there were some schools that were talking about financial opportunities, obviously like Air Force, who offered me a scholarship. Everybody who goes to Air Force Academy doesn't pay for school. Yeah. So I could have went there. And then a lot of like the D2 schools were offering scholarship money, but Wyoming didn't, and that was a kind of a sticky point for me. I didn't love the idea at first, and so I told him no. At first, I told the coach, I was like, "Hey man, I'm really looking for a scholarship here. Like I don't want to come to Wyoming." And he was like, "Okay, well, let me get back to you, right?" And so when I said that, and he responded with, "Okay, well, let me see what I can find out." And then he called me a couple days later with like, athletic or academic scholarships and other things that I could kind of take advantage of. I was like, oh, well, maybe, it's not just like this, hey, you're a walk-on, like just come be like a kind of a punching bag during practice. It was more like, okay, I'm actually getting recruited, and they actually do want me there. And so after that, we had some more conversations, and then I had some real conversations with myself and my family about like, okay, what do I want and what do I want to do? And I knew I wanted to play D1. That was my dream growing up as a kid. And I knew this was a good chance. I knew I probably didn't want to be in the Air Force, which is probably the only reason I didn't go to the Air Force Academy. And so it kind of boiled it down for me, and kind of made my decision like that. So that's how I ended up there.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you have any like Wyoming experiences that just are like top experiences playing football? Any of those bowls? I'm sure those were incredible.
Yeah, bowls were a lot of fun. There's that safety dance that gets floated around every now and then. I'm sure that's one that people want to know about. That was a fun experience. So some background on that one. We were playing Boise State, who was ranked 13th in the country at the time. So we were really excited to win. And then when we got the safety, like, I don't know, the body kind of just took over.
It just did it.
You
yeah.
know? So I was an 18-year-old kid. I was a redshirt freshman in that game. So, like, really had no business out there catching the camera like that. My boy Chase Appleby really made the play. So shout out to Chase. But that was up there for sure. Playing in the Mountain West title game that year, that was really big for us. And as a school, we had won 2 games the year before. And then to come back the next year and play the conference championship game, that was a big deal for us. We ended up losing to San Diego State, but that was definitely a highlight. And then all the bowl games, and really it's the friendships, like in the the camaraderie that you have with the guys. Like that's kind of the biggest part. Like
you probably spend so much time together.
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable. And to this day, like I was texting with some of them this morning. Like we haven't seen each other in months and years for some, but you just like those are what you kind of hold on to. So
that's awesome. I love hearing that.
Yeah.
So now for our students, let's get into it.
Yep.
So first thing we always talk about kids during registration is that high school graduation requirements and college admission requirements are super different.
Yep.
So that's probably the first thing that student athletes need to know is they need to make sure that they're taking all those classes that colleges are going to look for just in applying to colleges, right? So the 4 years of math, foreign language. Anything else?
Yeah, and I would even say going into NCAA adds a whole nother layer, right? So there's graduation requirements for high school, college admissions, and then NCAA is just another one of those layers. So the NCAA Eligibility Center is going to be looking at their core GPA. All of our graduating seniors are going to be looking at your core GPA, which is going to be your math, science, social studies, English. And
so it takes out like your PE classes, your art, things like. Oh, okay. Yep. So it just looks at the four core classes, just the GPA for those.
Yep. So your college prep classes, they're going to look at that GPA, and your eligibility when you arrive on campus is going to be determined on your high school performance. So if you're above their threshold, I believe it's different for each division, and I should have brought my little cheat sheet, but it's about like a 2.2, 2.3 GPA for your core classes. You need to be meeting that or exceeding that to be eligible.
Okay.
Otherwise, you go on, academic ineligibility, and that's not good. So
just like in high school.
Yeah, exactly. So they're looking at your GPA. After your junior year, you want to at least have an account made by then. It's not, it's not the end of the world if you don't, but we want to get your 6 semester transcripts in to the NCAA so that they look over the transcripts and kind of help advise through the student athletes portal, like what kind of classes you should be taking. That's obviously a big part of our jobs too. Like we're going to do that as well. So yeah, it's all important. High school super important for playing the next level for sure.
Okay, so if I'm a mom at home and I want to get my kid on the portal, how do I do that? Not the portal. Okay.
Eligibility Center.
Eligibility Center. Okay.
Portal comes after when they decide, hey, this isn't the fit for me. I'm going to go somewhere else.
Oh, okay. I wasn't even talking about that one. That's the super crazy one where you're transferring between schools and you're trying to get money and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's a whole beast. I don't know nothing about that.
Okay, so are they Googling it? Is there a website? Where are parents going to do this?
Yep, just go to NCAA Eligibility Center. You can Google that real easily, and it'll take you to the NCAA site. I recommend every student that's interested just sign up with a free account. And then when you decide where it is you're going to go, you can then specialize your account to where, hey, I'm going to play NCAA Division I, Division II, so on and so forth. But you can make a free account first at NCAA Eligibility Center.
Okay.
Yep.
From there, are students reaching out to coaches? Are high school coaches reaching out to coaches? Like, how do our student athletes get eyes on them so they can get recruited?
Yeah, a big part of it. It goes a lot of different ways. I always recommend kids go to camps. So go to college specific camps. There's a lot of camps out there nowadays where it's showcases and whatnot. I would go to college camps. So if CSU is holding an individual camp and you can afford to go, try and get out there to Fort Collins. Same thing with CU or Mines or Western or Pueblo, all those places. Get to the camps so coaches can get eyes on you and kind of see how you move and how you perform. That's going to go a long way. And so that's something that you can do. If you want to send out film, I would try and find someone on a website that's maybe a grad assistant, someone that's going to be looking at film. Maybe not necessarily the position coach or the head coach, Those emails probably
Bill Belichick's not getting.
they're probably
going to
get lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I hate to break it.
Deion Sanders is probably not watching those.
Yep, they're probably going to get lost. There's got to be somewhere on that website where you can shoot an email and shoot out 20 of them if you have to a bunch of different people. Just, hey, quick huddle link. And when you're making your highlight tapes, make sure that they're going to grab coach's eyes. They're not showing 40-second long clips where you're only in action for 7 of them. You want it to break it up into pieces where they're showing you in action, making plays. And they're moving pretty quickly because,
you've only got their attention for a minute or two.
They're grinding through, thousands and thousands of recruits clips. So you want to make yourself stand out somehow and make sure, the big plays are on there fast and early. And then everything after that is moving quickly at a good pace to where you're showing off what you could do. So
nice.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yep.
Well, we have Ian McKendry here, an amazing member of the Golden Eagle Broadcast Network staff, who's going to ask some student questions.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I've got some student questions for you. What were some of your biggest challenges, like when you were a student athlete in high school? What were some of your biggest challenges you had to face?
My biggest challenges? Oh man, I think maybe the biggest one was just kind of finding the confidence in myself. I never thought of myself as a very good player, and I don't know if that helped me or hurted me. I kind of go back and forth even today, looking back on it. But just finding the confidence to really trust myself and be put in those positions and to know I'm going to do well in those positions. Just at the varsity level or whatever. That was probably the biggest because I always thought I never thought I was the best player on my team or even the best player in my position. So finding that kind of confidence was always really tough for me. But my biggest advice is just believe in yourself and go for it. For every student that's out there listening, just you've put in the work, trust in that. And yeah, you got to believe in yourself because if not, ain't nobody else gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
For some people, because a lot of people don't really know, but what's the difference between Division I sports compared to Division II or III or whatever the other divisions are?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference, because I wouldn't go as far as saying Division I is athletes are better than Division II athletes. I don't think that's true at all. You can look at that evidence in the NBA, the NFL, wherever. Derek White, for example, is a D2 basketball player most of his career down in Colorado Springs, and now he's NBA champ, right? For the Boston Celtics. Or Josh, right? Josh started at JUCO, Josh Allen, and then obviously went to Wyoming, and now he's the NFL MVP. I think the biggest difference is going to be the money. Division I is the only spot where you can get a full ride athletic scholarship. Okay, Division II can give you partial athletic scholarships. Division III actually doesn't give athletic scholarships. Division II and III can give academic scholarships and partial athletic scholarships. But Division I is where you find the full ride, paying for everything kind of scholarships. So,
okay.
Yep.
What lessons from being a student athlete has stuck with you the most?
Oh man, that's a good one. I think probably discipline is probably got to be the biggest one. Being able to show up every single day on time, 10 minutes early to every single meeting, because there will be days where you got 8 hours of meetings back to back to back to back to back, and if you're not upright, pen in hand, 10 minutes early for every single one of them, it's a bad day. It's a long day. I'll just say that. So probably just the discipline that you kind of get, and then showing up to practice, just crossing T's, dotting I's every single day, just super super regimented, has helped me now as an adult just be a professional and a father now and a husband, just showing up every single day. That's probably the biggest thing. Yeah.
How did being an athlete shape your career path and who you are today?
That's a good question. Well, I think probably the discipline that I was talking about is part of it, right? Turning me into, just the type of professional I am. But being an athlete, I think I chose to work in schools because I love everything about schools, and it's kind of like being a student athlete, right? There's the academic part of schools, there's the the social emotional part of schools that we're always working with, and then there's obviously some athletics in there for a lot of our kids, but also just the community, right, feeling that I think Frederick has a little bit, and schools just kind of have in general. I really enjoyed, and just how everybody's kind of on like that one, kind of team almost, not to be corny, but like, right, we're all one Frederick team, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Go Eagles. But just kind of like all those aspects, like that's why I work in schools is all those kind of put together. And kids are able to just like chase their interests, whatever they are, across all of those like spectrums, right? Like mine just happened to be sports, but I know a lot of our kids love band and like GEBN and art and music and, all those different things. So yeah.
All right, my last question. If you could give one piece of advice to high school athletes with dreams of playing college ball in any sport, what would it be?
Yeah. One piece of advice. Listen to your parents.
Thank you.
For sure, listen to your parents. But things that you can do to kind of like set yourself apart is again, just like don't be tired of the monotonous, like the monotony that comes with chasing, like being better, right? Like if anybody ever listens to like Kobe Bryant or like Michael Jordan speak, like they talk about the process a lot. And a big part of what you guys see, the end goal, is done through the process, right? So like the end goal of being where you want to be, accomplishing what you want to accomplish, like you can't get there without doing the day by day, like daily deposits, right? And like that stuff is just going to compound over and over and over and over again. So if you really want to chase a goal, like don't forget about the little things every single day and doing the little things at a really high level. So yeah, probably it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for letting us interview you. You gave us some great insight into student athletes. Next month, you'll be back co-hosting with me again, which I love. So thank you for listening to Counselor's Corner.